Hello, friends of Komodo platform. I'm a Giuliano. It is the 2nd of January. It's January of 2022. We are here. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're well, rested, rejuvenated, renewed into this year of 2022. I'm here to share price charts. I'm so glad to be here. So stick around with me. I'm going to do my best to stick around through the year, and you can too. And we're going to take a look at KMD price charts, Pirate Chain, Varus Coin, Bitcoin, of course, and more. Very interested, loving the technical analysis, loving the price charts, and I hope you are too. Maybe getting something educational, something entertaining, and also just getting some KMD price action, because this channel is an advocate for the KMD ecosystem and platform and all of the friends of KMD. But also this channel is really interested. I'm really interested in technical analysis and price charting, and yeah, just being able to read the movements in the market and understand the forces surrounding them or influencing them. And so here we are with 2022 underway, and things are looking up. We are at lows. Yeah, okay, possible to get lower lows, but generally the overall bias and thesis is to the upside. Okay, all right, we're going to plot that out. We'll talk about 2022 and beyond, but first let's take a recap of 2021, which is here in a box. 2021 in a box was a really interesting year, to say the least. There was really good volatility to begin with to the upside, but then the volatility returned to the downside, and it was like 100% retracement volatility. So I will say though, the beginning of that year was able to retrace of almost nearly all of the basic, the second half of the year. Second half of the year was down of 2020, and it was able to retrace that. So that's good, but then 100% retrace, quite weaker, but that's part of the bigger market action that's playing out, and that is a market of its own energy. We're here watching it, and so this is on a monthly time frame. Oops, the KMD price. So yeah, the first 4 months were green and strong, except that the April month, big blow off top, and yeah, even in May, it still made it back up into the 6,000 Satoshi levels, but June was just such a hard month. It just dropped so hard. It dropped basically from, let's do a retracement. So it dropped from the 61.8 down to 100. So that's a huge chunk of move in one monthly candle. And that was just a tough month. Now, interestingly, so that's the first half of the year. And a lot of volatility. Second half of the year also showed volatility, but less high. And at the same time, though, there's still 100% retracement. In fact, you could argue here that there's even more than 100% retracement on this. But anyway, same idea, except a little bit reversed. This time it was 2 green candles and then 4 red candles. A lot of wicks, and the wicks reached up into this level here, where I'm thinking in this next year, that's where price is going to start to try and close, is in these levels up to this 3,000 level. Okay, that's the basic idea, but that's going into 2022. And I just want to stick with 2021 and say the other thing I want to mention is this kind of fractal idea of 2021. If you see, we made that move up, and then we made that move down. That's on a bigger scale. Then we made a move up and then a move down, and that's on a smaller scale. We did something similar. Now it was more choppy, but same idea. moving up at the beginning and coming down at the end. And even within here, we went up and then down. And it comes out a little bit smoother. So I think we are at a point where we can wind up and spring higher. So we'll see. But that's 2021 for you. If we look at the Wall Street cheat sheet market cycle, we are either at the end or nearing the end of it. And I think if we look at bigger patterns, we're going to see what could be forming. And that's what we're going to do now as we move into 2022. So there's your KMD price for 2021. And yeah, let's move on. Okay. So to do that, we're going to go away from the Binance chart. We'll take, which one is which? We're going to find out now. We're going to take the Bittrex data. So we have the whole data of KMD price chart. Yeah, that's the one we want. Okay, let's enable here our Bollinger Band. Now, none of this financial advice, and this is just based on some ideas, some logic, some ways of thinking, and of course, if you want to share and help me understand more, please do. Let me know if you're watching this in 1.5 or 1.75x speed. Maybe you're just watching it in normal speed. Okay, now we're giving a little bit away here. Whatever. That's the basic idea here. Okay, that's the overall schematic. Okay, time-wise, we're going to work more so with 2022. Okay, but projection-wise, like this. Oh, wait, you would want something like that first, right? Maybe that's what's going to happen. So anyway, okay, there's so like whatever, what the path is going to be over here is tougher to say, but through here, through 2022, I think this potential triangular formation is very decent. I'm seeing it now. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. And who knows what's going to happen? I'm really looking forward to watching and finding out. I'm super excited with the KMD price chart here on this channel. We're sharing Komodo price chart on a regular basis. So stick around if you want to see more and watch it move. But this is a longer term video for the year. And so this is the life of KMD price chart on one of the longest traded exchanges here that has been on here, Bittrex, arguably the longest traded exchange with volume. And now recently it's lost volume compared to, for example, Binance, but that's all right. It is what it is. And yeah, shout outs to everyone who knows and trades and loves the Komodo platform and KMD. So 2022, we can recognize because here we see with our own eyes 2021. You remember that? There's 2021. So 2022 is actually right here. That's right. Did you know that you already knew that because you were looking here? Yeah, well, I didn't realize that. Maybe you were already looking down here at these dates. We're going to use a bit of time and price analysis here, okay? And we'll talk with using retracements and extensions, these tools, okay? One thing I'd like to say is we're also going to respect trend line ideas as well. And trend lines, we have here significant trend lines in this long-term situation. The other thing I'd like to say is that we're going to check for, you know, an Elliott wave type of triangle here. Now, is it going to be a pure and proper? Not sure, but there's definitely a triangulation that could be forming here. And if that's the case, which it looks like, then that's good news, in my opinion, because what we've got here is really a long, significant, complex correction, okay, non-standard, or maybe it's just some form of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really could be, and then it's finishing off here. Maybe this is the 5th. Maybe the 5 is some sort of diagonal, ending diagonal. In which case, it makes sense that we are coming in to some sort of triangular formation as well. So it doesn't matter exactly how you count it, because it's more the logic of it. And we're even going to take, we're not just going to take this as a starting point for the decline necessarily. We could also notice on the weekly time frame the trend line which gets created by these closing prices. Now, having said that, we're not taking into account the full wick action, but that has been done before, so you can check out previous videos around that if you want to see more about KMD. Okay. But really, here's the idea. We've got this big Ichimoku cloud coming down. So we are at least going to challenge it, I get the sense. At some point we did in 2021. So let's see. The next thing is there was this much more of a steep decline with very shallow retracements, like not even 38.2%. This thing here, we'll take a look, but it was 38.2%. Very shallow retracements. Then we get this period here of flattening action. Okay, this is the 2020 period of flattening, the great flattening, which unfortunately there was not a market capacity to go this direction at that point. Instead, it had to like basically crap the pants and do its final strong move down. The important thing that happened next was this big retracement. This is the biggest retracement that has happened from a move down after a leveling. It's the biggest retracement that's happened for the whole move since this retracement here. Okay, so this retracement is significant. However, even if we take it from this level here and come down, it's still a significant retracement. Okay, all right. Now, what's happening here with this price? Well, we had this opportunity way back when the market had an opportunity to find itself, even something like this, like it could have at this point found this ability to go higher, but it wasn't there yet. And this was, you know, in 2019 when prices were moving up, it was looking good. But each time, similar to here, Komodo price charts, similar to here, when it went up, it dumped way lower. It didn't even just dump down here and then find its level. It just dumps way much lower. Same thing here. It didn't just find its level and then continue higher. It just dumped way much lower. Okay, so in this case here, again, 100% retracement. But the question is it going to dump way much lower? It can't go that much. Okay, so here we get into some long-term ideas of, you know, Komodo and a lot of cryptos, digital assets, whatever you want to call them. Okay, there's the possibility that the networks are just no longer going. Now, I think that's a lower probability for KMD. So I think the high probability is that Komodo platform continues, the KMD continues, and we move forward. The only other option on that level though is like internet shutdown and that kind of stuff. But that's another story for another day. The next idea is severe asset deflation in USD, where somehow even like Bitcoin, it just has a severe asset deflation. Maybe Bitcoin goes up against real world goods, but somehow the USD goes up against Bitcoin and everything else in such a significant way in 2022. Let's just say in 2022, okay? Remember, 2022 is just this box here, okay? Potentially just this triangle part, but whatever, we'll give it some room. So that's 2022. So in 2022, there could be those kinds of factors. The other thing is, so which would make, let's say, instead of the price going, you know, to this upward direction, yeah, I could just like go sideways and down, or maybe even dump more. You know, how much further though? I don't know. This is already down to 1,000 satoshis right here, but that's fine. Maybe it goes there and then it just kind of sideways is. Maybe it goes lower to 600. Okay, whatever, that's possible. Less likely, in my opinion. Let's see though. I mean, we are really pushing this downward level here of this triangle. So it ultimately, maybe we do form some sort of triangle that heads in this direction. Maybe we get a bit of a dump and, you know, all the way down to like 1,000 satoshis, right? This would be a triangle that works with 1,000 satoshis. Okay, we'd be looking at something like that. All right, potentially. But that's not what I see. So, but it's possible, right? This is just what I'm counting as the a nice probability that I would like to see play out. It might not be exactly like this, but this triangulation is happening on some level. Okay, yeah, from going from 1,500 satoshis, 1,600 satoshis down to 1,000 satoshis is a significant move, because that's that idea. Then also we go, so that was the USD version. There's also the Bitcoin version. Maybe Bitcoin does some crazy hyper Bitcoinization, or just has the craziest run up to like $100,000, $150,000, and all the altcoins, they try and keep up, but that's like that's a 3x gain, and maybe Komodo's only going to do a 2x gain in dollars. So instead of being 80 cents, it's going to be $1.60. Well, then that it needs to go down a bit in satoshis. But already we get down here and we're at 1,000 satoshis. So this seems like a level where if Bitcoin's at 150,000, KMD could be at $1.50 and at 1,000 satoshis. Okay, fine, but yeah, I mean, I think in fact that's probably my second likelihood. So either that's the second likelihood, is that the price does something like that, and it completes this kind of triangular angulation, arrowing, narrowing, and then we can move on to the upside. Okay, either that, or we're making it on a bigger scale. Okay, and the tip point, the E of a triangle, let's say, would be more around here, because we need to make 5 legs in a triangle. And so what does that mean? 5 legs of a triangle means instead of like a zigzag or a flat pattern where you need where you make an ABC, like that, instead of making an ABC or some sort of ABC, right? You make an A, B, C, D, E. You make a 5-leg move, right? Okay, so we can imagine potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then it goes in the opposite direction of the E, and we'll measure it after and see where it would go. And funny enough, this kind of level is where it would go. But let's not go there. Okay, not yet, because that would. Anyway, that's beyond 2022. Remember, 2022 is in our box here. Okay. So what are we thinking? We're thinking that getting back to this idea, yes, it's possible we go down, all right? Either way, it looks like we're triangulating. This triangulation is coming after a big, long downtrend, complex and devastating to the price action, okay? Now, the other option was this hyper Bitcoinization and things just dump. Maybe it's just short term for 2022 to a point, and then it moves up. Or maybe it's long term, and the long term means that this triangulation is meaningless, and just forever, these price charts are just going to be these tiny little blips. Okay, fine, whatever. That's also possible. Again, thesis is biased to the upside. Now, when we look at this, we see much more of a sharp decline. Okay. At first, it was more scoop ups, and then it started flattening. But it did get a further dump down, but now a nice big scoop up. So this level is being challenged. Okay. This big retracement here, next potential D and an E wave. Why? Let's talk trend lines. This trend line here is significant on a closing basis. Okay. It starts at this big turning point. I mean, if we want to talk this turning point, then we'll start talking the longer term trend line. So the most short term trend, or sorry, the previous trend line was this trend line, and it starts here and it makes its way across that touch point. But if we keep it going, we see this final dump down is actually, the price when it was flattening tried to break out of it to the upside, but the final move here of this relationship fought along that trend line. It even sunk back in, found its bottom, and cracked up pretty decently. So that's a good sign. Firstly, we are out of this trend line, so that's done. Secondly, a nice move out of it. Okay, good. Now that means also potentially this long decline is complete, and now we're ready for some sort of sideways consolidation. Now, maybe on a long-term scale, that sideways consolidation is something like that. Oops, something like that, right? I don't know, but either way, we have a potential now for a sideways consolidation, and it would fit potentially a triangle. Okay. Let's look at those price retracements. I want to show you that basically we had from here to here, we didn't even have a 38% retracement. Okay, not even 38.2% retracement. If we take it from the next high, so we're going, from high to low and retracing that, and that brings us to a 38.2% retracement. So that's decent, okay, but weak. Especially there was no follow through after this low. So that's the important part. Like you could have had something where you made a pattern that comes down, retrace, finds a support, and moves up. But that was not in the cards for the KMD market. Okay. So instead, this trend line, this important trend line, gets broken. Okay. So bye-bye trend line. So we continue with this downtrend line, and we'll continue with our retracements. So we're going to retrace this one. So wow, okay, on a smaller degree, we nearly get a 50% retracement, but let's take the whole move down, and we get potentially a half of a 38.2% retracement. So again, not quite 38.2, 38.2. If we take the whole move there, half of 38.2. Next, so at first we're not really finding much bounce. We're not really finding much capacity here. Again, half of 38.2. If we take it from that midway point there, it's about 38.2%. And then if we start here, now we notice, okay, off of this high to low, we start retracing 50%. And in fact, not only do we retrace 50% here, we also retrace that move 100% and then another 100% back to the top. So this move here, in fact, got retraced roughly 100%. So that's how we start getting this sideways action. And at that point is when it tries to break that initial downtrending resistance. It starts breaking it, but then it falls back into it. Interestingly, it continues to interact with it near the end here, but boom, it's done and bounces right off and comes back down to retest. That's what I'm seeing. And in fact, ultimately, what we might end up seeing is something where we get this one bottom move up and make a second bottom on like a macro scale. That would be incredible too. Maybe the second bottom could be higher. That would be adorable. All right. Now, that's just projecting and speculation. And so I hope you're having fun with it, hanging tight for this enjoyable 2022. And just go into it with some ideas so that there's no surprise, not too much surprises. We're going to keep watching it along the way. Okay. Next, so this trend line, now we start triangulating, and we can pull some price action with this high and these highs, and now these lows potentially here, as this might potentially be turning around as lows. And we start triangulating into a triangle or a triangular shape, okay, a squeezing. Now, I don't think that this price action is related to the A wave per se, but it could be, and it doesn't have to be. I don't think it is. I think this is more so our triangulation here, where actually this point here, this 0 point doesn't matter in terms of trend line either. oops, it's in fact, it's the A, the B, the C, and the D. And then we imagine the apex and we start looking at it in that way, but really this is what is the idea. But I thought that it's interesting that we can still connect that all the way back here, okay? Yeah, also when we look at it on a monthly time scale, it also offers it, and it seems to be around that time where, yeah, fine, you can go over here, but it doesn't matter. Like this seems to be whether your A wave starts here or here, which is more likely here, then that's fine. You're good. No worries. Start triangulating on the monthly. Look, it's already making lower lows, so we're kind of having a downward formation in this triangle. But on a monthly scale, closing wise, it actually looks like it would complete in the third quarter of the year if it remains in this categorization here, where you're not getting something lower or whatever. Okay, cool. So that's a monthly time frame, right? And coming back to the weekly, okay, we have, I'm going to just make these visible on the week. Okay, now what are we looking for? I'm going to get rid of this box. This is 2022 here, okay? The rest of the triangle on the weekly is 2022. So we start this triangulation, and I want to notice we showed you these retracements. I didn't show you the price retracement. We showed you these 50% retracements here, okay? But now we start taking this retracement, we're like, wow, from this top to this next top, we had a 50% retracement. So that's good. So maybe there's a chance from this top to the next top, because if we're at a bottom, we get a next top somewhere. Wow, look where the 50% is. It's interesting, isn't that? That's interesting. The 50% yellow line here is retracing from roughly from this top here. If we bottom here, okay, then the 50% retracement hits nicely as an option. So we'll see. And if it follows this trend line and rejects as a D wave would, then this starts to really make sense. Okay. The other thing is though, if we take the retracement, not from up here, but from, let's say here where we start this thing. Oops. Then we have an even higher retracement past the 61.8%. And yeah, so I'm not saying that we're going to get a 61.8% retracement here. But, and anyway, wicks might do different action because this is a closing chart basis. However, that's pretty cool. I think that gives us one idea that whenever we make a low, there's a good chance we'll retrace by 50%, 60%. Let's hope so. What we really need though, ultimately, is a 100% retracement. And what that might do is come from here, and that would be solid if we could get 100% retracement from here. If we don't ever get 100% retracement, we're never going to, and you got to hold the 100% retracement eventually, and as support. Okay, so we'll see. Is this what's going to happen? I'm not guaranteeing it, but we're getting closer to the idea that yes, it is. So we did some price retracements for fun. Now I would also like to, we not just for fun, but we're including this idea. Oops. We're including this idea of price retracements, okay? And I just want to recognize again, if we take our A wave and we retrace it, okay, we get, oops, what happened here? Interesting. Something has gone on here. Maybe I made a mistake. What? What is going on here? Oh, so maybe it's only a 38.2%. We'll have to go back in that and watch what happened there. What? Oh, what has happened here? What? Sorry, folks. There we go. I don't know what just happened there. Let's redo all this. Well, folks, there you have it. Maybe a 38.2% retracement. Sorry. That's what, oh my goodness. Yeah, so the retrace, that's what was my error. I'm sorry, folks. You know, sometimes I get caught up in all these different things. So we're tracing that A wave, a 38.2% retracement leads us to our triangulation D wave potential target here, which by the way is around 3,500 Satoshis, which seems reasonable based on some other short-term charts and other stuff. Okay, next, if we were to retrace from the top of our recent high, that's where the 50% retracement matches again with that 3,500 Satoshis level. So that's a confluence that's nice. I'm glad we actually had that error, because then when that shows where they confluence, and that seems nice. Okay, good. Now let's look at price retracements of these waves compared to each other. Now in Elliott wave, in a triangle, oh, wait, before we go to the triangle, I want to show you the next trend line. That's the idea. But I'm going to just say in the triangle, the prices, the waves, the A wave, let's do it like this. The A wave and the C wave are related by some ratio, usually 61.8%. So one of them is going to be 161.8, and the other one is going to be 61.8 when comparing them to each other. And then the B wave and the D wave are related to each other. And also the D wave and the E wave are related to each other in price and time. Well, maybe not time, but we'll play with the time. Yes, actually, sorry, in price and time. My bad. Okay. So what are we going to say here? This trend line is pretty complete. The next trend line of significance is from this high again across our most recent significant highs. And when we look there, we see that we are also coming to the end of that trend line. So I think that, again, is a significant situation. We are from this high through this high coming to the end. So that's another reason why we might be at a low point and we could find ourselves moving up. Okay, does that make sense? So that's another reason to think like that. So I'm going to take away this trend line because it's a bit in the way, but I wanted to point that out. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, let's get rid of this trend line too for now. Goodbye. And actually, we're going to just hide these for now. Okay. So here we go. Let's look at this triangular action and say that we begin here. A, B, C, D, E. All right, let's find out. So the A wave, let's see if it gets retraced by the C wave, how much? Sorry, not retraced, extended. We use the price extension. So the A wave compares to the C wave, 78.6 maybe. So it doesn't really give us that that price comparison. Okay. We'll see though. It's 78.6, 61.8 seem to be mixed up a lot in the crypto, I find. Okay, so next we compare potentially this B wave and this D wave, B wave and the D wave. So if they're related in price by 61.8%, that would be about there. Here's a 50% relationship. Having said that, we know that this price already has this 50% relationship, and compared to here, no, it was the next level down. Oops. Compared to here, it has a 38.2% relationship. So it does match in some level here. The other thing I wanted to say is we bounced to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. All right, we sunk down, bounced off the bottom region here, reached the top, you know, even impulsed through this level here, and now came back down towards this bottom level, and finding this bottom, bouncing into it, and now all of a sudden Bollinger Band narrowed. I get the sense on the monthly chart that the price has its opportunity to come to this 20-period moving average, and the 20-period moving average is just moving its way down. So I do think that there is this potential to come and touch the 20-period average, whether it probably get rejected by it, but that's the idea, and continue this final triangulation. I get the sense that is to come. So so this triangle doesn't really have the price relationships spot on. If we go to a monthly, does it give us something different? Because the monthly closing, well, firstly, you could argue maybe you don't do it with closing. Maybe you need to use, again, this is just amateur style here. Yeah, this is the same idea between the 61.8 and 78.6. So anyway, no big deal. We're going to see here in terms of time if we can see any relationships as well. But okay, so the next idea is if this D wave were to relate with the E wave. We could use the retracement on that one and say, yeah, something like that would make sense. Okay, based on what we're seeing in these relationships. So that's cool. Yeah, let's watch it out. 2022 is gonna be interesting. Let's do a quick time analysis on this too. Let's take this time. We'll take the A wave and say, all right, A wave. And then again, we don't want to compare the B wave and the A wave. We want to compare the C wave and the A wave. So we'll come here and we'll say, okay, interestingly, this potential ending of the C wave here is at a 161.8%. So if we were to take that C wave and compare it to the A wave would be actually 61.8% of that C wave. So let's do that. We'll take that C wave and say, okay, A wave, boom, 61.8%. So that's interesting. Okay, there is a time relationship there. There's no doubt about it. If we are turning around here and this is some sort of C wave, then that is a relationship to consider. Then in that case, let's look at the B and the D wave and compare them. B wave compared to D wave. If we are getting that C wave started here, and there's roughly a 61.8% relationship. Here's the 161.8% relationship. So maybe it's a slow movement, a slow grind into June of 2022. Okay, that's possible, but I don't know. That just seems to fit other ideas here. This whole March timeframe. So we'll see. But that's my best guess so far, is that it'll match by about 61.8%. So in fact, the B wave will be 161.8% of the D wave. And if we do it that way, we'll get it like this, something like this, right? Yeah, here's the 161.8. So, I mean, I didn't measure it perfectly accurately there. Whatever. I don't want to get all confused there right now. But basically, you see that idea, right? The D wave, I think it starts around here, would be roughly 161.8 of that B wave. Okay. I know I did it a bit off here because I think we ended there. So yeah, that's fine. It's a good ballpark. This is a weekly time frame, and I don't know if I'm starting to count at the exact same spot that it needs to be, but that's close. All of this is close enough for me. Oh, and what I wanted to say is that even with the price retracements and extensions not matching per se with the triangular fib ratios, this is an ending potential, like based on this logic here, we are looking at an ending triangulation, in which case it will not follow the rules in the same way, is potentially a big shift in the longer term market direction, right? Okay, so those are some ideas. Now, if we were to take the D to the E, the time for the D to the E, we would get, sorry, hold on. Let's just go that B to D again. B to D. Oops, I think it started like here. So the B to D is roughly here. So maybe this comes here, whatever, right? Maybe it's here, but most likely something like that. The other option is the 161.8, and it's here. Okay, in which case maybe 3,000 Satoshis would be the tops. Okay. Choice one is here though. Now with the D to the E, we could compare if the D is here and the E then relates to the D by 161.8. If it's here, it's 161.8 of the D. So that's possible. 61.8% of the D would be here. And so it would end probably here like this in April and then continue higher. So, but maybe it has to go to June or July to find its positioning. All right. Okay. So yeah, there you have it. This, I'll do that again for you, but the E wave here would be, the D wave started about here. Yeah, it would be about 161.8 of that D wave, meaning that the D wave, oops, the D wave would be 61.8% of the E wave. Okay, so here's that 61.8%. So this would be 61.8% of this whole move here. Interesting. Okay, so that's about it. There you have it. There's 2022 for you. Basically, the idea is we're going to come up and reach around to the 3,500 Satoshis level. And then we'll come back down. And maybe by the end of the year, we're only going to be around the 1,500 Satoshis or 2,000, sorry, 2,000 Satoshis. Well, if it's really coming down, you know, this thing could squiggle and squirm all the way to the tip. And we'll see. But this looks like interesting year for KMD and then beyond. Beyond that, we start looking at, okay, if this is some sort of triangulation, we can relate this A wave with the thrust on after the E wave. So let's do that. We're going to take this A wave here and we're going to go to the E wave thrust here, and boom, it quite nicely into 2023. Now this is going to 2023. It quite nicely fights this cloud, takes us to this even longer term trend line right here. See that? A relationship between this A wave and a thrust out would bring us to this very level here at a 1-to-1 relationship. Is that going to happen? Not sure, but and this is where we start going in towards like May of 2023. So I don't know what's going to happen around these timeframes, but the spring, like March, April of 2022, the June, July of 2022, and the spring of 2023 seem to have some time significance. Okay, based on relationships. Okay, and speaking of relationships, I'm going to do one last time relationship thing on the Binance chart, and then we'll take ourselves out of here. But I just wanted to recognize that when we compare this A wave with a thrust out of the E wave, here we get nicely to this downtrending resistance. So maybe we hit it in 2023 and come down, and who knows what it needs to look like beyond that. Maybe it's just a further decline or whatever. Okay. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to stick around to watch. Okay, and I hope you do too. So this is the idea of Komodo price charts, and I hope you're doing well. And yeah, wishing you all the best. I'm very excited for 2022 and beyond, as you can see. I'm curious to see what it goes like. And best wishes to all of the Komodo platform. The Komodo and friends, all the friends of Komodo platform, all the communities, all the people developing and testing, and all the people new to Komodo platform, and all the people who've been here since the beginning. And special shout outs to you for watching this video. And I'm going to continue now on to the Binance price chart. Okay, so let's just save this one. Oops, cancel that. Whoa, why won't it let me save it normally? Interesting. All right. KMD long term 20, 22, and long term. All right, let's save that. Okay, next, out of here, boom, close that, go into KMDBTC on the Binance price chart. And let's just take a little bit of time tool analysis. We'll take a look at Binance, see where we're at, and look at some price levels. So on the daily price chart, here is the 3,500 Satoshis level right here. All right. So that seems like a reasonable level to reach in the next little while. And that was relating to the to this potential D wave that we were witnessing. Okay. So there you have it. And are we going to get there? Well, we'll take a look here at this time action that's happening. If we look most recently here, we see, okay, from this top to this top, sorry, what am I looking at here? Let's go into 2021. Sorry, friends. Okay. So from this bottom here to this top is the same amount of time roughly as the top to the bottom. Okay. And that's roughly the same amount of time, oops, as two times to go from bottom to top to bottom here. So if we look bottom to bottom, that's equal to this bottom to bottom. All right. So right now, bottom to bottom equals bottom to bottom over here. Bottom, top, bottom equals the bottom to the bottom here. So that means there's a chance going into 2022 that this is a bottom and we're going up and then we'll come back down. Is it going to be a quicker impulse like this, or is it going to be a slower, basically corrective move like this? Who's to say? But yeah, 1-to-1, the up and the up and the down here matches the up and the down here, and so what's coming? Probably another up and a down. Okay, so that basically rounds out the thesis, the idea. Okay, that same up and down here. Anyway, all right, friends. I think that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I was just going off on a tangent there, but I don't want to get too much into that. You know, it looks like it takes forever, and it seems to do so. All right, but on a daily basis here, we're looking decent. Yeah, it could keep going further down, but it looks like what we're doing is we made a move up. We're finding our correction here, looking for where is the fourth wave going to end, and the bias is to the upside. Okay, still. However, watch out. There is the chance that it goes down first and does whatever it needs to do. That is what it is. This is going to be interesting to watch. So if you're still here watching, thanks for sticking around. And other than that, be well. Until next time, okay, which will be soon. I'm wishing you love, peace, and happiness. Thanks for sticking through this video. Goodbye.